Good evening, all the joinees. Hi, this is Ansu. I welcome you all to the webinar conducted by Engine Markets. By the time the others join in, let's have a look at today's webinar topic. So, today we will be majorly focusing on how you can build model portfolio on our platform using Engine Fund Score as a basis for the same. Post that, we would be looking upon the portfolio optimizer, that is the improve facility available on a portfolio analysis to give us suggestions or improvised portfolios towards the existing portfolio that we are looking upon. Following that, once we have our portfolio improvised, we would be looking upon the performance analysis of that portfolio against a benchmark. And then we would also be looking upon the asset allocation of that portfolio. Following that, the quorum would be open for a Q&A session. You could either unmute yourself or type down your questions in the chat box. So let us begin. So this is our landing page, the markets tab on Engine Market. Now talking about our first topic for the day, that is fund score, we will firstly try and understand what is the derivation for fund score. So for that, I would be doing a fund level search from this search bar. Let's say I search for a fund, maybe iPro large cap. You type in the name of the fund and you click on it, it will come up as a single fund analysis onto your screen. And every fund that is available on our platform would be given a fund score. And the score could be seen just next to the name of that respective fund. There is a black tile which once clicked will let you know what is the score and also an explanation for the score. Now, for this fund, iPro Large Cap, this has got a fund score of 9.71 out of 10. Now, this score will range between 0 to 10. We say the closer it is to 10, the better is the fund's performance. Now, talking about the parameters used to arrive at this score is AUM, that is 10% consideration given to the AUM of a fund, and the remaining 90%, 100 minus 10, the remaining 90% is distributed between the short, medium, and long term returns and volatility. Short, that is 1 year, medium, that is 3 year, and long, 5 years returns and volatility. 30% goes to each short, medium, and long. And within that, the 30 gets distributed as 15 to returns and 15 to volatility. Now, these are the quantitative parameters that are considered to arrive towards this score. We also have a qualitative parameter, which is the age of the fund. That is to say that a younger fund will get a lower score when we compare it to that of an older fund. Specifically because the younger fund does not have enough data to prove its performance in the market. Following that, one another important parameter is that this score is comparable intra category only, that is, within category comparison. You cannot compare the score of a large cap against a value fund or a small cap fund. It is within category comparison and it changes on a month on month basis. The history of fund score could also be seen onto this line chart as well. Post engine fund score, there are two more scores that you could see. First is called as risk score. Following that, we have something called as return score. So, risk score lets us know the volatility protection capacity of a fund. And this score, we say the higher it is, the better it is. That is, the more closer to 10, greater is the volatility protection capacity of this fund. And following that, the return score lets us know the return generation capacity of a fund. Here as well, we say the closer it is to 10, the better it is. And each of these score If you want the history of this score from the time period that you see onto this line chart, it now comes up into this Excel file as well. Into a single Excel file, the month on month changes of fund score will now be available in front of you. Not just the fund score, but also the risk and the return score as well. Now, once we are through the understanding of fund score and the parameters considered, we will be going to our funds section to filtering our funds. Now, in our fund section, the tab that will be made use of will be our screener section to filter out funds. Right here, what you could do is select this option called as filter categories. This will give you four buckets, which are specifically the asset classes and their SEBI classification. You get the option to select multiple categories at the same time. Let's say for today's portfolio creation using Engine Fund Score, I select a total of five categories. Let's say I select a flexi cap, followed by that a mid cap, then a value fund, following that a multi-cap fund, and let's say from this hybrid bucket I select aggressive hybrid fund. So we have selected five categories in total: flexi cap, mid cap, multi cap, and value fund, along with that aggressive hybrid fund. So all the funds that come under the universe of every category will now come up onto your screen. However, at the moment, you see that it is showing only 50 results because by default, we keep it as show top 50. However, you have the option to increase your fund range limit. Let's say I am selecting it at 200 and click on apply. So now from the five universe that we are looking upon, there are a list of 157 funds that we have in totality. Now, if you wish to filter it on an AMC level, we have that option as well. Filter AMC, simply select it and select only those AMCs out of which the funds you're supposed to look for. Let's say at the moment, I wish to see all the AMC funds from each of these five categories. Following that, we also have certain basic filters that are available for filtering our list. Firstly, it is mentioned as minimum AUM. That is a specific minimum amount of AUM that you wish to input to filter the funds. Following that, minimum age. Then we have a section called as minimum time period return and also minimum Sharpe ratio. So let's say out of these filters, I input two filters at the moment, wherein I input an AUM of 3000 crore and an age of 5, and I'll click on apply. So I'm letting the system know to show me only such funds from these five categories whose AUM is 3000 crore and above, and the funds have been in the market for at least 5 years. And from a total of 157, we have come down to 66 funds only, basis these two filters. Now, sorting it or selecting schemes basis engine fund score was the topic for today. Now, the column that you see mentioned as engine fund score is what we will be looking upon. Now, you would also want to know at the moment, how are these list of schemes sorted on which column basis? That could be easily identified basis a blue color that will come up for the column basis which the data set is sorted. At the moment, since this data set is sorted basis engine fund score, it is getting highlighted in blue color. For example, if I wish to sort it on an AUM level, you simply click on the column heading. Your data can get arranged either in the ascending or in the descending order, and it will be highlighted in a separate blue color that way. Now I'll again come back to engine fund score, sort it basis the fund score. And now from each category, I will be selecting a single fund. You could have the option to go forward with the best performing fund in that category, or let's say you think you would preferably want the second best performing fund, because the first best performing fund might have already outperformed enough. That is personal, your choice. At the moment, I am selecting those funds which have performed the best in those respective category. So first category that we could see is value fund. So right here, iPro Value Fund is the best performing fund basis the latest fund score. All I would be doing is clicking onto this compare icon mentioned left to the name of the fund, and my list will go to this compare section. In similar way, now we will look upon our second category, which is mid cap fund. Within this, we'll select HDFC Mid Cap as the best performing fund. Following that, in aggressive hybrid, the best fund happens to be iPro Equity and Debt. Since we have a fund from this AMC, which is iPro Value Fund, I would be going towards the next best fund from this category, which is right here, SBI Equity Hybrid Fund. I'll click onto the compare icon. Following that, out of FlexiCap, we have Parag Parikh FlexiCap, and in multi-cap category, we have Nippon India Multi-Cap. So we have selected 5 funds from each category, which have now come down to this compare section. Now, right here, we have an option called as convert to portfolio, which can instantly convert your portfolio or convert these schemes to become a part of your portfolio. Now, before converting it into a portfolio, I would just be checking upon its overlap, which is mentioned as position overlap. So we would want to have such schemes in our portfolio whose overlap is comparatively lower when we look upon them. Now, in this tab called as position overlap, we also have provided you color coordinations for easy and quick understanding. That is, as soon as the overlap goes beyond 40, the color keeps on getting darker, a yellow, pink, and red, which lets you know or lets you say that a decision needs to be taken to keep either of the two schemes in the portfolio as their underlying components are similar, maybe to an extent of 40% and above. Now, currently, talking about these 5 schemes, their overlap is, let's say, well within the limit. 32 to 33 is the highest overlap that we are seeing, which, let's say, can be considered to be within the limit. Now, what I would be doing is clicking onto this option called as convert to portfolio, and instantly a portfolio will get saved into this compare section. So now we have gone to this compare section. I would be using this option to collapse all the folders that I have. Now, since this portfolio was created from the compare tab, I would be expanding this, and this is the portfolio we just created, compare 89. Firstly, I would be renaming this portfolio. And now we will be running this portfolio. Now, when we look upon this portfolio, we see that this happens to be an equally allocated portfolio. Now, the reason for the same is that since this portfolio was created from the compare section, this will by default be an equally allocated portfolio. Let's say you wish to change the allocations to something else. There are two options that will be available to you. Either you edit it and input your specific allocations that you want for each of the schemes in the portfolio. You can manually edit the allocation as per your understanding. If not, we have provided you a facility called as Portfolio Optimizer, called as Portfolio Improvisation Facility. Once you click onto it, this section will give you suggestions as to how you can rescale the allocation of components in the portfolio basis each of the objectives that we have mentioned right here. Let's say I'll input a time horizon of maybe a 5 year in this section. I'll select 2021, maybe Jan 29th, and I'll click on rerun. So now we are analyzing this for a period of 5 years in the past. So, what all are the sections that you can come across? Firstly, is this column called as original. So, it is saying basis the allocation which is equally allocated at the moment, the annual return would have been 20.9 with a volatility of 11.6 and a Sharpe ratio of 1.22. Now, to give in an improvised version of these portfolios, we have two major models, ranking model and value model. Now, ranking model is one which follows a much more concentrated approach. That is to say, it will give in maximum allocation to a single fund only. That you could see, let's say, we try to understand about rank returns. As the name suggests, we are focused on maximizing the returns irrespective of the volatility. So you could see a return of 20.9 could have been a return of 22.9. However, the volatility is also increased. Now, how was this increase in return possible? This was possible when 43% was given to HDFC Mid Cap and exactly half, 21%, was given to Nippon Multi Cap Fund. Now, why did it specifically select and give the highest allocation to HDFC Midcap followed by Nippon Multicap? That is basis the objective that we are looking upon. Since this rank returns portfolio's objective is to maximize return, while we were backtesting this portfolio for a period of 5 years, in that time horizon, we came across that HDFC Midcap was the fund which generated the best returns, followed by Nippon India Multicap. Hence, these were the funds that got the highest and the second highest allocation. However, we could see that a single fund, HDFC Midcap, has got an allocation to an extent of 43%, and exactly half goes to Nippon India Multicap Fund. Now, this is what is countered in our value model, which is called as a balanced approach model. Here as well, the objective or the first model is returns value. The objective is anytime to maximize the return. You could see a return of 20.9 could have been a return of 21.7, wherein 23.8 was allocated to HDFC Midcap and 23.07 was allocated to Nippon Multicap. Now, here the allocation difference is more like a zero point 0.5 or a 1% that way. Hence, the difference between the ranking model and value model is specifically based the allocation given to each of the scheme. Ranking model will give maximum allocation to a single fund, while value model will make sure that the allocation is provided to each scheme in a balanced way. Now, these were the rank return models that we were looking upon. Similarly, there are two more models. Second mentioned as minimum vol, which is minimizing volatility. That is to say, the objective of this portfolio is to reduce the volatility. From 11.6, it could have come down to 11.5, wherein it gave the maximum allocation to the hybrid fund, which comparatively had a lower volatility than the other equity funds. And following that are these rank Sharpe methodology, wherein the objective is to maximize the Sharpe ratio. From 1.2, it has come up to 1.3. This happened when a 43% was allocated to iProve Value Fund and 21% was allocated to HDFC Midcap. And similarly, in value model as well, we have those same models, minimum volatility and Sharpe value method. The understanding for all of these models are similar. The difference is in terms of their allocation given to each scheme. Ranking model follows, as I mentioned, a concentrated approach, while value model would follow a balanced approach. Now, let's say you are currently satisfied with this Sharpe value model. You get the option to save this portfolio. You can either edit the name or choose to save it as it is. Once that is done, you close this page. Again, you collapse the folder. Since this portfolio was created from Improve tab, it will be available under the Improve folder, and then you can run an analysis on the same. So now we created an equally allocated portfolio. We rescaled its allocation basis the improvisation method. Post that, we will be now looking upon certain performance metrics onto this portfolio level. Firstly, I would be changing the time period under consideration. Let's say I take a 5-year time horizon. And we firstly will be talking about the performance statistics. So right here onto the graph, you could see a blue line and a black line. The blue line denotes the portfolio performance and the black line denotes the benchmark performance, which is currently considered as reference index 2. Now, what does this stand for? You could have an explanation for the same on top right of the page, which is mentioned as benchmark. So this is an automatic benchmarking facility that is there on our system. We would have predefined 11 benchmarks, which are combinations of Nifty 50 TRI and CCIL bond index. Now, how does the system select this is purely basis the asset allocation split of the portfolio. That is, basis the equity and debt split of a portfolio, the platform would suggest a nearest benchmark, that is a nearest reference index. You can either go forward with this. If not, you wish to select a benchmark maybe from NSE or let's say from BSE. You could also do that. Post which you get to see the performance comparison. Right here, we have a brief performance statistics, the parameters such as MTD, month to date and year to date for both the portfolio as well as the benchmark. Now, since we are in the month of January 2026, we see that the month to date and year to date for the portfolio, or for that matter, the benchmark happens to be same. In addition to that, you get to see the 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year return for both the components. Following that, you get to see parameters such as annual volatility, the standard deviation, the risk that has been undertaken by both the portfolio, which is to an extent of 11.9, and the benchmark, which is to an extent of 12%. Following that, what was the return that was generated by this level of risk? You could look upon the cumulative return, which was 164% for the portfolio and 88% for that of the benchmark. Following that, we also have something called as Sharpe ratio, which tells you the risk adjusted return, which is indeed higher for our portfolio at 1.12 when compared to that of the benchmark, which is at 0.5. So you could say that your portfolio generated a better return with a lower level of risk in this time period that we are looking upon. And that could also be seen in terms of its Sharpe ratio, which is indeed higher for the portfolio than that of the benchmark. Following that, two more parameters called as historical VAR and implied VAR. So VAR stands for value at risk. That is, what is the value of this portfolio that is at a risk? At a risk of what? At a risk of losing. So right here, the 95% that you see, we call this as the confidence interval. So it says that with a 95% confidence interval, there is a 5% chance, that is 100 minus 95, 5. There's a 5% chance that if history were to repeat itself, the portfolio could go down by a total of 19%, while the benchmark could go down by a total of 18%. Now, if I put it into simple terms, if 100 rupees is invested into the both portfolio as well as the benchmark, the capital erosion for the portfolio would be 19 rupees and the capital erosion for the benchmark would be 18.7 rupees. Now, this confidence interval that you see, this as well is editable. We have input it at 95. You get the flexibility to edit this. However, it is the industry standard to maintain it at either 90, 95 or 99. Following that, you could see mentioned it as implied VAR. Now, both historical and implied are more or less the same. The only difference between historical and implied is the underlying parameter that is considered for the purpose of calculation. For historical VAR, we consider the historical returns as a parameter for calculation, while for implied VAR, we consider the historical volatility as a parameter for calculation. Following that, we would be moving towards the tab called as asset allocation, which tells you what is the major asset allocation split. That is the total of equity, debt, any other component such as cash, foreign equity that is coming towards the portfolio as an exposure. For example, if we see right here, it says all my exposures towards the portfolio. So next to HDFC Bank, there happens to be an exposure to an extent of 4.8% towards this portfolio. Although this stock is not directly held into this portfolio, there is still some amount of exposure or risk coming through this stock. In order to understand that in detail, you could click on the I button. So it says that there are these four funds in this portfolio which hold HDFC Bank in their portfolio. Hence, it says that there's an indirect exposure of HDFC Bank towards this portfolio through these stocks, through these mutual funds that way. Now, next to the name of the funds, you see certain statistical data mentioned. Now, how do you understand them is, let's look upon Parag Parikh. So, mentioned as your portfolio, it says in our portfolio, Parag Parikh is held to an extent of 19.4%. That could be seen right here. Following that, in this fund, HDFC Bank is held to an extent of 8.09%. So the exposure that we are showing here is more or less a weighted average exposure, which is a multiplication of this fund allocation in the portfolio with its allocation of a stock in that respective fund. So 9.4 multiplied by 8, we get a weighted average exposure. So in a similar way, we would be showing you any and all the exposures coming indirectly or directly through any underlying stocks or component. For that matter, we also see that there's certain level of foreign equity exposure coming towards the portfolio. You wish to view only the foreign exposures, you can click onto the same. So it says that Alphabet Incorporation has an exposure to an extent of 0.78. Click on the I button and it gives you the detail that Parag Parikh indeed has a foreign equity exposure, which is also coming towards this portfolio as well. Post that, we will be moving towards the concentration tab, which lets you see the equity market exposure of the portfolio. This data you could view in two ways, either as percent of total portfolio, if not as percent of equity exposure as well. Now, if we view this as percent of total portfolio, this will show us the large, mid, and small cap split of the portfolio. That is, if we come back to the overviews tab, this 87%, when it is bifurcated as large cap, it comes it to an extent of 50%. Mid cap, it comes to an extent of 24%, and small cap, it comes to an extent of 12%. Now, everything other than that equity of 87% that we saw, all the other things, when combined, will come up into this pie section of 12.9%, which is mentioned as others. Now, let's say you want to view this data as percent of equity exposure only. That is, we will be considering this equity exposure of 87% to be as 100. And basis that, we will be showing you the split in terms of the large, mid, and small cap split of the total portfolio. Following that, on an AMC level, what is the exposure that is coming towards the portfolio? And the schemes from that AMC as well could be seen. And then we will be having the equity sectors tab. Firstly, towards the right, you can see all the sectors that have exposure towards the portfolio and the extent of exposure from that sector. In addition to that, for the top 10 sectors, we show which all are the underlying stocks from that sector that have exposure towards the portfolio. You get the option to click onto the bar graph and it gives you an explanation of the stocks and the level of exposure as well. And lastly, we have is this debt tab, which will again give you the debt level exposure for the respective portfolio. Firstly, you get to see the credit rating on a portfolio level, which again will be a weighted average credit rating basis the schemes in the portfolio, their allocation in the portfolio, and then we show you a weighted average credit rating, and similarly the average duration and maturity as well could be seen basis that. Following that, we also show you which all are the underlying debt components and the level of exposure they have towards the portfolio. Now, post the analysis, let's say you want to share this portfolio with your client for analysis purpose or just for viewing purpose. We have two shareable links along with us, not just these exportable PDF and PPT reports. There's one share link, which is an option that helps you to share the total portfolio analytics with your client. First thing you see here is it gives you an option to hide engine fund score. That is, let's say these scores you do not wish to show to your client, you get the option to hide them. Following that, let's say you do not want your client to change the start and end date of your portfolio, you can also activate the same lock start and end date. In addition to that, if you wish to force a benchmark, you do not want our reference index benchmark, you want, let's say, some benchmark of your choice. You simply search for the benchmark from this list and then click on create. So, this is a desktop friendly link that could be shared with your client. So, your client who does not have access to engine markets will now get to see their total portfolio and a detailed portfolio analysis just onto their desktop screen by just using this link that way. Following that, we also have a mobile friendly link, which is called as a client link. So right here, you could share this link with your client via WhatsApp. All you need to do is firstly generate a pin for the same. Once that is done, you click on create client link. Once you click onto this option, you will be redirected to a page wherein you get the facility to send this to your client via WhatsApp as well. So we have an integration with WhatsApp. Simply input their 10-digit mobile number and this message will be received towards their end. Once they click onto this link and input the password, input the PIN that will also be mentioned in the message, this is the analysis that will come up before them. How is the portfolio composition? How is the portfolio performing against the benchmark which was selected? And then a general market view. How is the market performing in total? So these were the two link options that could be used on your end. So that is it for the topic specific webinar. If anyone has any questions related to the topic discussed today, you could either unmute yourself or type down your questions in the chat box. Anything or any query which is not related to today's topic, I request you to drop your contact details in the chat box and our team will reach out to you for the same.
Hi, Anshu. This is Amir.
Yes, hi.
Hi. You showed the portfolio construction where portfolio can be created given rank wise and value wise. How these this value and rank differ from each other? How this is constructed is what I wanted to know.
Yes, I mean, as I mentioned, just a minute, I'll just improve the portfolio.
You said that one is balanced approach and second is not that based on rank. So just wanted to understand. Look, I could get what you're saying,
Hmm,
but what is difference, basic difference between
sure.
the two approaches?
So the first, which is the ranking model, will anytime follow a concentrated approach. That is to say that firstly, it will assign ranks to the schemes. So, for example, we are talking about rank returns. We will check in the time period that you have set in what are the returns generated by the schemes. Basis that, we will assign ranks, and then basis that, allocations will be given to them. Right? So, we say it is concentrated because it is giving maximum allocation to a single fund only, while value model follows a balanced approach. That is, whatever was the returns that was generated by the fund, basis that, we will arrive at a balanced allocation to that fund. Now, the difference is that this is a concentrated approach, putting all eggs into single basket, that way you can say, and value model follows a balanced approach in terms of its allocation we are talking about.
I mean that balance is created basis some risk also taken into consideration or something like
No,
how that
so the
balance is like.
balance
We
is
also,
created
yeah,
basis the
sorry.
objective, the basis the type of portfolio that you're looking at.
I'll also add something here, Arnav here. The reason
Yeah, hi,
that
hi.
the reason the value models come out as more balanced is because in the in the ranking approach, the way we create the weight is and here you can see HDFC Midcap has the highest rank, highest weight. So it must have got the highest rank. That means it came first. So its rank was one. So its weight before we normalize weights would be 1 divided by 1. The next weight, which here it looks like ICICI Pru value will be 1 by 2, so zero point 0.5. And then the next one will be 1 by 3, the third rank. So it'll be 33%. So it'll be 100%, 50%, 33%, 12.5, sorry, 25%, and so on. So the weights really fall off as the rank drops. And then finally, when we have these weights, we normalize them to add up to 100, proportionally reduce them until they add up to 100. So this is the reason why in the ranking approach, you get a very high weight towards the top ranks, and it drops very sharply as the ranks fall. In the value approach, the word value is there because we actually use the actual value of the statistic that we are optimizing for. So in here is the value of the return or the value of the volatility or the value of the Sharpe. So the value of the return here, you can see HDFC Midcap still has the highest weight, 23%. The next one is 21.38 or 21.31. So here you can see, actually, I was wrong. The second one must have been Parag Parikh FlexiCap. And then third one is ICICI Pru.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So here you can see the weights in order from the top are 23.2, then 21.3, and then 21.31. So it's because the actual return of these three funds are quite similar. So the HDFC Midcap return is only slightly higher than the Parag Parikh return over this period. And then ICICI Pru is very closely behind that. So the value models directly kind of show you what the actual return is like. The ranking model doesn't care about the difference between the first and the second and the second and the third. It is just purely based on rank, first, second, third. The value model, however, will represent more accurately what the actual return was. And because of that, it comes out as more balanced.
So, if I just try to summarize in my words,
Yeah,
first the rank returns is like winner takes all. So 1 by 1
exactly.
plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3 plus 1 by 4, whatever the number comes, again it is brought back to 100%, and then accordingly it comes, say 1 by 1
Yes,
becomes 43%. But
yes,
in value, whatever the return was, so suppose if we take a period of say 21 to 24 and small cap did very well, and if you take a small cap here, maybe
yeah,
it could go up to 40% in 100%,
yes.
and vice versa. But right, 5 years now the returns have moderated. That's why mid cap is only 23%. Maybe an year back or an year and a half back, it would have been 40% based on the returns, right?
That's right. So only difference here is the 23.2% is the weight. So that number doesn't mean anything in terms of the return. The return could have been 80%. But so what happens is if HDFC mid-cap return was 80% and the Parag Parekh return was 79%, that can easily translate back to the numbers you see, because what we do is we add them all and then reduce them proportionally until they add up to 100. So you have a full portfolio. So the number itself doesn't reflect the return, but the number reflects, relatively speaking, how it is done versus the other one.
Okay, got it, got it. And what about the other four minimum volume and
Yeah,
sharp value?
yeah. So in the ranking approach,
Yeah.
we look at either returns, which is the first rank returns, or we look at volatility. So obviously the lowest volatility fund is ranked the highest. So that's the min vol approach, but same approach as ranking. Sharp, we basically calculate the Sharpe ratios for each fund and then rank them and then use the ranking approach. And then same concept with the value models. The value of the return is used as the input to create the weight. In volatility, we actually reverse the vol by like dividing by one. And we use that value because obviously lower volatility should be a good thing and should give you more weight as per the model. And then Sharpe, again, we take the Sharpe ratios as the weight and then renormalize them to add up to 100.
Agree, understood. Thanks,
Yeah,
thanks a lot.
no problem.
Generally speaking, what approach one should take? I'm just saying from a what one what approach should we take
Well, the
in
most stable long-term performance we found is usually the Sharpe value model. And again, from a logical perspective, also makes sense because it takes risk and return into account, and it is an accurate reflection of how well one fund is doing versus the other on a relative basis. And you were right with the ranking model; it is a winner-take-all approach. So obviously, very it can, even if it does do well, it could also be just luck, right? I mean, from what we've seen, for long-term stable performance, the Sharpe value model tends to perform better. But again, this is just just historical performance that we've checked.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
No
It
problem.
helps a lot.
No
Thanks.
problem.
Another thing, what period should we take for this kind of analysis? Like right now, it is taken 5 years, but 5 years may not be the right because we haven't seen that kind of drawdown, although there has been a drawdown since September 24.
I
Should
think
we take a 10-year kind of period?
Yeah, I think this is more subjective to what you're trying to do. I wouldn't say that there is any right answer here. Obviously, in many cases, 5 years people might think is okay. Depending on what you think is more reflective of the future. So, for example, after COVID, 2, 3 years after the COVID lockdown period, when there was a sharp drawdown, we saw a lot of people trying to take shorter time periods in order to avoid taking into account the drawdown period of 2020, because the statistical properties coming out of that was changing the output portfolios, because and if you assume that something like that is not going to happen again, then you should probably ignore that data. So there is that to consider. If you take a slightly longer term approach. And so I think this is a very subjective thing. I think but there is no right answer to this. I mean, typically we've set the default at about 3 or 5 years, but I think it's kind of up to the individual really what to use.
Means ideally, if we take into account drawdown periods also, this may give a more balanced approach in case one wants to take a balanced approach, a very long-term kind of approach. If an SIP is going, it should go for long, maybe 5, 7 years, 10 years, that kind of
Yeah,
approach.
it will give a balanced approach. I think the main thing is, especially with sharp drawdown periods like COVID, the COVID lockdown, yeah, if you see differing behavior across funds, so if some mid-cap funds really suffered versus others, then that is going to really affect your results. So if all mid-cap funds did this, as badly and then came back as quickly, then it should be fine. But I think you might see small differences when you when you increase the time period significantly. Yeah, I think it's as I said, I think there's no right answer here really. And also one thing to consider is if you're in the list of funds that you have, if you have a few kind of new funds, you also have to be mindful of the fact that there is no input data for those funds. So so that will affect your optimization result as well.
Thanks a lot.
No problem.
Any more questions? Please let us know.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi. I joined in late. I wanted to listen to this whole
Sure.
explanation. Will it be available on YouTube? Will you be
Yes.
uploading
So by
this?
next week, we would be uploading it onto our YouTube page as well. We have a playlist for webinars. So this webinar will come up by next week, Monday or Tuesday latest.
Indian Markets channel.
Yeah. So from platform itself, you could see that there's a YouTube icon right on top.
Okay.
Click onto it. It will redirect you to our YouTube page.
Okay. Sure. Thank you.
No problem. All right. If there are no further questions, we would close for today. You could anytime visit our YouTube page. As I mentioned, we also have a dedicated playlist for all the webinars that have been conducted up until now. We have a playlist for Hindi webinars as well English webinars. Today's webinar will also be uploaded by next week. Thank you all for joining in. Hope to see you again next week with a new topic. Thank you.